Well, good afternoon, everyone. Peace be with you. It is April 19th, about 10 minutes to 3 p.m. in the year 2020. And I am presently starting chapter 5 in my autobiography, which is video number 11 on Facebook posting. And here we go. Chapter 5. Oh, just to bring us up to date, I'm entering college. Chapter 5. Jesus, peace be upon him, in the elevator and other college adventures. Hudson Hall was a bold experiment in college dormitory living in the mid-1960s. It was a very radical move for a large Midwestern school like Missouri University, located in Columbia, right in the middle of the Bible Belt state, Missouri. And I was one of the first freshmen to live there in 1967, only 1 year after its opening, this dormitory. What was so radical about Hudson Hall was that it was connected to Gillette Hall by a common area separated by two monolithic sliding doors that closed and opened daily at a certain hour. Hudson Hall was for the men, and Gillette Hall was for the women. This was revolutionary at the time, a co-educational dormitory at a Midwestern state university. It was my first home away from home. I was enrolled in the School of Liberal Arts with a major in graphic design and fine art towards advertising and a minor in American history. My father, who was an artist and a draftsman, had put a pencil in my hand when I was just a toddler and taught me how to draw. With his training and whatever talents I'd been given, I had a knack for caricature, political cartooning, an eye for visual composition, and I liked it. And it fit in with my search for the truth, providing a comic relief through political cartooning. Since becoming Muslim, I have learned that mockery, even of one's adversary, is forbidden. For Allah can turn a defiant disbeliever into a believer overnight, and vice versa. He holds our hearts between his fingers and looks upon our hearts and our deepest intentions. Furthermore, to draw faces is forbidden as well, and more about that later. One Saturday night during my freshman year, as I was returning to Hudson Hall just before curfew, a little buzzed after a few beers. I had always had a very low tolerance for alcohol, never got into it too deep. A few beers would put me to sleep, while the other guys could drink a case and keep going. Somehow, as many did, as I was walking through the common lounge area, where there were low lights and easy chairs all over, I heard someone speaking to a small group. I heard him say, "Just ask Jesus to come into your life." In my slightly inebriated but still rational condition, which was wide open to suggestion at the time, as I entered the shiny stainless steel fluorescent lit elevator all alone, I distinctly remember saying softly but out loud and with a big smile on my face, "Okay, Jesus, come into my life." At that moment, it seemed like there was an incredible power surge in the elevator, and the lights got very bright. So bright I had to close my eyes. The next thing I knew, I opened my eyes and I was on my knees at my 6th floor destination, with the elevator doors slowly opening and closing. No one was around. I looked at my watch. Only a few minutes had gone by. When I got up, I felt different. I went to my room, totally sobered up by my experiences. I felt that I had an unread message in my head. The message was to follow the red letters in the Bible. Do not join any Christian sects. Just follow the red letters and be a mensch. Be a good person. I felt that I had been given divine guidance. It was a wonderful feeling. I can close my eyes and be there in the elevator. That is how real it was, and it happened over 50 years ago. Life went on, and in the spring of 1968, my roommate invited me to his family home in Iowa for spring break. Since I lived so far away and the break was short, on my 19th birthday, as my roommate's family was singing happy birthday to me, we found out Dr. Martin Luther King had just been assassinated. More tragedy, yet another leader for human rights cut down. It was an epidemic back then, the frequency of such killings, and it made me look deeper into what connected them all together. In my second year, I moved into an apartment and lived the life of the struggling art student. Frost on the windows, inside the winter, parties with friends, making music and making art, keeping an eye on Vietnam in the news. The third or junior year, some friends had rented an old house just off campus and formed a commune. I moved in. It was in that commune that I had more experiences that brought me closer to understanding and consciousness. Some of those experiences were spontaneous, and some of them were facilitated by plants that Allah had created, and it opened our consciousness. Vietnam was raging. All us guys knew we were just a few grade points away from being reclassified from 2S, student deferment, to 1A, draft status, cannon fodder. And we felt it. My minor course of study was American history, and I knew we were not in Vietnam to protect our national security. We were there to strip the country of tungsten and copper and whatever other resources we could get our hands on that would feed the insatiable appetite of the American throwaway society. The tungsten, for example, was made into filaments for incandescent... What happened to my... For incandescent light bulbs. That's where I'm going to end it.